Hey everyone, thank you Sarah for giving the introduction, make my job a little bit easier to just go talk into what's the programmable storage means to us. I think especially here that we want to just share that out to SPs to make you guys understand what this might change and what might interest you to get more involved with the FVM and then getting the data on board through FVM as well. I know that might sounds like a little bit too much terms, too much knowledge in here, but overall, I think it would be open up a lot of opportunity for SPs to get in touch with the data set coming from not just Web 2, but hopefully from Web 3, a lot of social and then game and application coming on board the data with storage providers. And so let's go into it. And I don't want to spend too much time, but I guess you guys are very familiar with this process of getting data on top of Filecoin and how that works. So I want to just go over it very quickly and then make sure you understand what FVM might change this process a little bit. So as you guys all might know that Filecoin is the open market to store data. Right? As the data clients, you can go on that market looking for a storage provider and then sending a proposal to store your data or to retrieve your data. And all this process might happen on chain or might happen off chain. And so, for example, if we look at this diagram, I highlight it as a different color. So before FVM, everything might happen off chain. For example, when you prepare your data and then packing into a car file and send it to storage provider, maybe store somewhere, IPFS or your Web 2 server. And then you propose a storage deal using your lot of CLI and use all the commands, sending the API request, and then giving all the parameters for your deal and then send to storage provider to retrieve. And once the storage provider receive the deals, and they will look at into it, see if that's if that met my requirement, and if that's yes, I would just need to go fetch the data and then getting the data transfer to storage provider. I mean, if it's a smaller, it's easy. We can transfer over the internet. If it's a big, sometimes you guys know it will just happen some offline to do the data transfer. And once that is done, storage provider having your data sealed and packed into the sector, and then start producing the proof of replication, proof of space-time over the time when the block is producing to populate on chain. And this process is happening on, all the proof are happening on chain and stored on the Filecoin. Now, what might change a little bit is when FVM come in and FVM bring this the programmable storage to Filecoin, it means you can write your smart contract and then making some of those process fully decentralized on Filecoin. For example, that when we're talking about data DAO, I mean not data cap, and then funding the deals, we can make sure they are recorded on smart contract. And also we have the client contract that you can directly propose a storage deal, and then storage deal will emit the events for storage provider to pick it up. This might change a bit, and we completely building a fully decentralized application or storage alternative on FVM. And so that's the path that might change for the storage deal flow. But overall, there's still a lot of use case happening on Filecoin. And this is where we just want to make it very clear for developers to understand where to go when you want to build certain applications on Filecoin. So if you're getting from the starting point, if you think that I'm a builder or I have a data I want to store on Filecoin, right? And there are a lot of scenarios. For example, a lot of the big data is coming from Web 2, and you are working for a video company, have a lot of data want to archive on Filecoin, and then a lot of this large data set I want to store, I can directly go to the storage provider and then having the data preparation, data onboarding process with them. That's out of the picture for what's developers are building. But like if I'm building an application and what tools should I go, what paths I need to do, I think it depends on how you want to build, what do you build on Filecoin, right? For example, if you are building an application which purely just want to store your data decentralized way, and you don't really care when it's get landed into a storage deal, and you don't really care about the status of your storage, how long it's going to exist on Filecoin. You just need to store and then retrieve a user application. For example, an NFT project or game project, you just want to get your data. For those applications, you can use the service that we currently provide on Filecoin, like storage, Web3 storage, NFT storage, or Lighthouse. They are just giving you the easy way to upload your data. But for other builders who do care that the storage on Filecoin is active or not, is it broken, need to be fixed, or I need to monitor the state of those data and then providing extra service around, for example, the data DAO, and I want to build a perpetual storage. And for those kind of builders, need to care about the storage data on Filecoin. And then you need to build on top of a programmable storage, like Sarah mentioned earlier, of the pot size to verify the segment inclusion, or you have to have a ROS to repair and then renew once something goes wrong with your storage. And in that case, you need to understand how that paths work and then be able to pick the right data onboarding process. Whether you have a large data set you can just directly store with the client contract, or you have a small data that will be difficult for storage provider to pick up, and you go through the aggregation process. And so to be understand that, we need to make sure that you clearly understand the two paths of going to the client contract or going through the aggregation. So what's the reason that we want to have a different paths for developers to choose? Right? If you guys, I think you guys are very familiar with how storage provider works, right? Like in storage provider, you basically have your sector that you seal your data in there, and then the sector will be like 32 gigabit or 64 gigabit. So if I am building a Web3 application, I store my NFT and I send a storage deal, like, oh, can you please store my NFT, which is 4 gigabit? I'm pretty sure that no storage provider will answer that request. And that's a reality in the Filecoin network. But like if you have a bigger data, like a couple gigabit data, and the storage provider might accept it. And also that's clearly actually listed on the reputation system for Filecoin storage providers, because they clearly list out what's the minimum size for data I'm accepting, and then what's the price. So if you're storing a smaller size, obviously storage provider will not accept it. That's why we need to go through the client contract model, which you be able to store a large data set through a smart contract. And if it's small, you go to the aggregation process. So what's the difference comparing with the current data onboarding model with smart contract? I think the main difference here, I highlighted in different colors so it would be easier to understand. Data preparation all remains the same, but like when you actually kick off the storage deal, and then we can do that process through smart contract. So you basically have your data prepared and then stored on anywhere server IPFS, and then be able to provide that URL to access the data, as well as the parameters for your storage deal. And then you can just send it to a smart contract call, and then smart contract call will be able to emit events, which is storage deal proposal events. And then what's coming next is important for SPs, because you guys need to run, if you run a boost, and you'll be able to listen to the events. The events is a storage deal proposal. And once you get events, you'll be able to pick up the deal and store on, you seal and then store on sector based on your setup, like if you want to packet it or not, and you can just directly do it. So this process will be completely different. I think it will be bringing more opportunities maybe for SPs, because now you can directly accepting deals, accepting data coming from Web3 application. And we are working closely with IPC and hopefully extending the ecosystem beyond Filecoin. Hopefully we can get in touch with a different ecosystem to providing them access to the storage on Filecoin. And they might bring a lot of opportunity, a lot of data set eventually storing on Filecoin. And also, I know that like developers or users are very sensitive and they do care about the data, also the transparency, and then on-chain storage. That's why people choose to use decentralized. Just people choose to use a blockchain, right? I mean, that will give alternative to building a completely decentralized storage on Filecoin, and then all the storage proposal and all the incentive we can be able to go through the smart contract and record it on Filecoin. And another path is aggregation. I think that also might not very unfamiliar with you all, because some of your SPs will probably pack all the data and aggregate by themselves. But with FVM, now we're working with a couple teams to come with the aggregation standard, as well as the part side, which is inclusion improve. What that means is, if you look at this picture, like right, each of the clients sending a small file to aggregator, and aggregator will take them and combine into a bigger deal. But like, how do I know if my small file is included in that pack? Right, you can verify. That's what the part side come in. You'll be able to verify if your data is included into a bigger storage deal, a bigger sector in the sector. And that will be taken care of by the aggregation. And now FVM team is working with a couple of partners to build a on-chain aggregation and an off-chain aggregation. Like off-chain aggregation is basically just running a node or running a procedure to pack that data together and generating the proof for it off-chain. But on-chain aggregation will be putting all this into a smart contract and then be able to store those and then be able to verify on-chain directly. I think there's a couple, like Lighthouse and Sephora, they are exploring the solution. Currently, Lighthouse has provided a off-chain aggregation process, and they also integrate the RUS, the replication, renew, and repair process. Let me look at time. Okay, I will go a little bit briefly on how the aggregation works, and come through a smart contract. So this is the basic flow, and we'll assume that aggregation provider will provide a smart contract, and the smart contract will be a little bit similar as the client contract. Will accept the data request coming from application, which is the clients. And once they get that, the smart contract will emit the event, and then the events will be picked up by aggregator application running behind. And then eventually aggregator will grab all this data and then pack all into a small one size deal, and then be able to generate the part size and then feed it back to smart contract. So the clients will be able to verify the part size directly through the smart contract. And then the standard process will just basically submitting the proposal, and then also be able to call back when the storage process is completed. And I think for all the SPs, this doesn't change much, but this also brings more opportunity from aggregator, right? You don't need to directly go dealing with all the clients, all the app submitting the application, but the aggregation will directly work with SPs and have this operation integrated into SP, the boost, and be able to listen to the events and then store the data come in for the clients. And also, I think I didn't put anything out here, but because the payment process coming into this also will bring more potential incentive, right? Imagine that like now we have data cap, and also data cap is able to integrating this process. You can take all the verified deals and then getting the 10 times possibility for your reward, as well as you can build an incentive model into the application to accept payment, whatever payment coming from the clients, and then be able to share that payment and that profit with all the storage provider are willing to take storage deals coming from a smart contract. And then also something that Sarah mentioned a little bit earlier is the ROS, and that will also bringing more like possibility, and then for building application like perpetual storage, which Lighthouse have been talking about. And then Yeah, for the most important for perpetual storage is there has to be some sort of a procedure and monitor the whole network to be able to verify if this data are stored according to the client's request, like applications, and if that's expire or not, and then if the deal sector is healthy or not. If not, I need to do the repair and then renew. This sort of a process, and all those going to be provide these features through two components. One is the aggregation, which, like I mentioned earlier, be able to take the deals request and aggregate send to the Filecoin network. And then the second part is the roster part, which is be able to monitor the network and monitor the sector health, monitor the deal expiration, and then be able to fix all this issue when that happens. And we are working with our partners to build a full hosted ROS, which basically means the provider will be able to build ROS node and aggregation all together and providing that service to clients to use. And if you're building all the solution, you want to have your own ROS node to do the deal status modification and proposing the renew and repair, and then you can run your own ROS node and then just rely on aggregator to do the rest of the job. So here's the link to the ROS starter kit. If any of you guys are interested, and that would be something that you can look into it. And then there's another part of with Filecoin, and we're trying to achieve is retrieve. And we know that like Saturn and then other team are doing the retrieval. So, but like with FVM, we also like to see more of the programmability built around retrieval. And one of the things that we're very looking forward to see that builders will come in and build, and then also we're providing the retrievability over the data. We make storage providers' life easier, and it's a retrieval oracle. And originally it was designed and proposed by Crypto Net Lab. And the purpose of that is be able to use the smart contract to incentive storage providers to providing the retrievability, and then making sure that the clients will be able to access the data reliably, because now there's no incentive directly built into the Filecoin protocol to make sure that storage providers are willing to provide a retrieval, right? Like if you storing data, there's like penalty of slashing and making sure your data are stored. But if it's retrieval, I mean, it's just like, oh, if you store data through Filecoin Plus, you are recommended to have an unsealed copy to provide for retrieval. So there's nothing built into incentive that. And then retrieval oracle, we hope that bringing the smart contract part and then be able to let the user to propose a retrievable deals. And then once the retrievable deals is retrieved, and the storage provider will be able to getting the payments as the benefit coming from the clients. And if they're not, the collateral will be slashed as well. And then we we put it into another network as referee network, which basically is acting as like a judge to make sure that storage provider are actually doing their job to offering the retrievability, and if not, they will take action to sludge the collaterals and returning the payment back to the clients. And I hope this kind of a design, putting into adding those feature into smart contract, hopefully will build the system. And if the community or any developer team are willing to build, that's also another thing that we want to providing to the developers. And I actually was planning to do some tutorial, but I don't think time is enough. So I'll just skip that part. As Sarah mentioned, and Field Dev is coming on 14th, and if you want to know more, and FVM track will be the place to go. And we will definitely talk more into how the FVM will reshape the storage. And we're also gonna talk more on what you guys are needing. We know that the DeFi was built and the SPs are using it, but all those features are missing that blocking the development of the DeFi, and all the infrastructure are missing for DeFi, as well as the protocol layer. Like we have IPC team, we have FVM team, core dev there, and to discuss and talk with you if you have any requests, any use case, and any features that you might need to unlock to be provided to unlock your use case. And just welcome to our events at the 14th. It will be all day, and come to enjoy. I think that would be it. Thank you.